Welcome to the first episode of the series Obscure Fighting Games, the place where I want to talk with you about some of the arcade and consoles fighting games that never achieved the same level of success of the most well-known brands, like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat or King of Fighters. It's a shame because some of them were pretty decent or at least interesting, but for reasons attached with quality standards or poor marketing choices, they never saw the mainstream light and stayed mummified in the past. In this episode, I will talk about the obscure fighting game Battle Monsters. Battle Monsters is a one-on-one fighting game developed by Scarab Philplus exclusively for Sega's 32-bit console, the Sega Saturn. In '95, it was published in Japan by Nacet Software and in Europe by Acclaim Entertainment. 1 year later, it was published also by Acclaim in the US. The same development team also worked on other fighting games: the Battle Monster sequel, Killing Zone, Zen Nihon Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua, and also did the Fighting Vipers 2 part for the Dreamcast. In later years, the company became a subsidiary of AQ Interactive, and two of their most well-known works are Ju-On the Grudge and No More Heroes Paradise. The plot of this game, like the majority of fighting games, is quite basic. According to the official manual of the game, it consists in a tournament of demons against monsters that are supposedly locked in Mortal Kombat. This tournament was mandated by the Monarch of Hell and only permits one victor, one survivor, and to the winner goes the power of ruling the Netherworld for 1000 years. Now let's talk about the characters. First we have Makar Yugo. He is a gladiator barbarian fighter who uses a clawed shield that can fire arrows. Dreadthok, a cyclopean claymation beast who can heal himself, breathe fire, and sprouts an extra arm out of his wrist to do an uppercut. His original Japanese name is Strawbelly Jam. Chili and Pepper. Functioning as one character, these two clown-like cavemen toss one another at the opponent, among many other attacks. Headless Harn, an evil character who fights with his own decapitated head. His original Japanese name is Heart Hit Harn. Lappa, a living doll who uses ballerina-like attacks in battle. Fangore, an evil skeleton warrior who shoots his own ribs to attack and regularly falls apart to evade attacks. His original Japanese name is Kiba. Skith, he is a half-bird, half-human fighter who can summon hellfire from the sky using his medallion. His original Japanese name is Kuja. Death Mask, a hulking golem who identifies himself as the game's grappler-type fighter. He is also the Frankenstein's monster ripoff. Kapka, a mutated-looking 5-foot trickster magician who attacks with his two morphing iron orbs that follow him around the entire battle. His original Japanese name is Kafka. Naga, a standard Gorgon Medusa-type character who can even morph into a cluster of snakes, which fire lasers out of their mouth. Albiole, a mysterious, ghostly fighter. Shion, seemingly the only real human character in the game. He is a samurai that is both incredible fast and incredible powerful. Then we have the 4 palette swap bosses of the game. Each one of them represents one of the 4 elements. They are all unplayable characters. Visually, the game makes heavy use of digitized human actors for its characters, and also uses some blood, influenced of course by Midway's Mortal Kombat series, which make this game to be considered one of the many Mortal Kombat copycats made around at the same time. The game was also inspired by some Neo Geo Fighters presentation, by zooming out as your characters move further apart, like Samurai Showdown for instance. The CD quality is barely up to scratch, with a muffled announcer's voice and lack of any real character speech. Although, the in-game music has really good tracks, and they're moody enough. There are a lot of creative elements in the gameplay, like multi-level platforms, animated and scaling backgrounds, destructible sceneries, and flashy special moves. Unfortunately, the mechanic of this game suffer a lot of balance issues, with some enemies being much more difficult than others. Hitboxes are also a major problem, with a lot of issues. There are times when it's difficult to land specific attacks, and there's a tendency to want to button mash to get through the runs, instead of playing it strategically. But the strangest aspect of the game is the control setup. The top 3 buttons on a Sega Saturn controller are used for jumping, and there is only one kick and punch. If you don't take it too seriously and look at it like the product of its time that it is, Battle Monsters it's not a terrible game at all. If you are looking for a fighter with solid gameplay and mechanics, this is definitely not for you. But if you are in one of those days that you just want to have some brain-dead fun with a non-trending fighting game that uses digitized actors dressed like Monster Team characters beating each other up on weird arenas, go ahead and give it a shot. Quality apart, back in the 90s you didn't know many fighting games that were crazy original with some of their concepts like this one. Nowadays, I believe the experience of playing it will be even more special. Or weird.